This one's for the people who feel like they get stuck in a loop and they're always in the same situation over and over again, thinking, this is just like last time, why does this always happen to me? By the end of this, you might be able to break free from that a lot quicker and easier without forfeiting everything. Like, the first thing that people do when they find themselves in a situation that feels just like last time is feel like they just have to evacuate. Like, I just have to give all this up. This relationship's just like the last relationship. This person's just like the last person. This job's just like the last job. This rental agreement's just like the last rental agreement. The list goes on. It could be absolutely anything, but we get stuck in these things and we start something new. We're all optimistic. We think it's going to be different. We're hopeful that these people are going to be different, that this situation is going to be different. We get stuck into it, and then things start to show up, these warning signs, these red flags that we've seen 1,000 times before. So we start to think like this is just not going to work out, and that's self-fulfilling prophecy again. There's a bit of a theme to these videos, these self-fulfilling prophecies. It's almost like we're stuck in cycles of time and we're repeating them until we choose to change it. Very interesting. So what do? Well, the first thing is, like, identify the common denominator in every one of these situations, which is you. So maybe, just maybe, like, I'm not saying it definitely is, that your new thing that's happening isn't toxic or isn't negative or doesn't have bad things going on. But the first thing to look at is you. Like, so when this thing's happened over and over again, how did you react each time? How did you respond each time? That's where we begin. Because basically, I just want to start off from a different place already. Like, we're thinking about this. You've thought about this before, yourself, without me, without this video diary where I'm expressing what I'm thinking and feeling in the present moment. And you've come to the same conclusions over and over again as well. Yeah, it's definitely everything out there. It's not me. It's just that I have bad luck, or I just keep attracting these same situations. It's just not me. So let's not even look at it like that at all. Not even looking at any of that. We're not looking if it's them or me or the external or the internal. Forget it all for a moment so we can start from a whole new perspective. So let's just appreciate the fact and be grateful that if this is just like last time, that means we have a play-by-play walkthrough, step-by-step, of how everything's going to go, if it is in fact like last time. Therefore, if I respond like this, then the situation ends up like this, and then this happens, and then that happens, and we know the full thing. We know everything that's going to happen. We can see the future. Imagine that. Now, doesn't that feel like a more empowering place to begin from? Okay, so we can see the future. We know if I do this, then this happens. So what if I didn't do that? Now, the first thing's going to be, look, like, I don't want to put myself in a situation that I don't know. You might not consciously think that. It might be very deeply subconscious. Like, if I do something differently, then I won't know what the outcome's going to be, and then I can't control the situation that's totally out of control anyway, and it just keeps reproducing the same results. Oh, man. We're off to a good start already. That's already enough. Like, you could just stop the video right there and you could just contemplate that for a little while, have your own insights, and you'd probably start to see some little ripples. But let's continue. So, I know if I respond this way, then this happens. Okay, we change things. So, instead of thinking like this person or this situation is toxic and I've got to get out of here, or I've got to try to prevent this predetermined future from happening by reacting, what if we just don't react at all? What if we do nothing? That's one super powerful way to respond to any situation, is by doing nothing. Because then you can watch the theater of the universe, if you will, play out without you. So you can see the situation for what it really is. And then that's when you will see, is it me or is it them? Or is it me or is it the situation? You'll start to see, okay, the situation's playing out, kind of thing. And you might see, this is actually a thing going on over here, and it has its own cycle that continues forever. Do I want to be a part of that cycle? Yes or no? No? Okay, we'll go look over here. But I used to do that, This is a lesson that took me a long time to learn. I used to just see the red flags, see the warning signs, and I would just forfeit everything. Like, I would just evacuate, because I'd be like, I don't want to deal with any of that stuff because I know where all of that leads. But what I was missing was the fact that if I don't react, if I don't respond the way that the situation like caused me, I don't even want to say it caused me to, just the way that I chose to respond to the situation last time, I can actually create different results. So, for example, I was reproducing the same kinds of issues in my relationships, and I'd meet amazing women and I'd start the relationship and I'd get all excited and I'd be so into it, and then the red flags and warning signs would pop up and I'd go, oh no, it's just like last time, and I'd start like telling them, like, this is what happened last time, this is what's going to happen, like, you got to stop this person from doing this, and you've got to control this over here, and we've got to control. Guess what happens? Oh, too much work. Like, I'm the thing for them, you know. You got to think of that as well. Like, everybody's having this experience, and maybe for the other person, they're looking at you going, whoa, like last relationship I was in, there was so much control and so much insecurity and worry and fear and all of this stuff. I don't want that. So you're the red flags. That's another thing to consider. Like, you think everything out there is a problem. Oh no, like, we've got to protect my peace and protect my little journey here and make sure that I have what I want, manifest my perfect little reality. But then in your fear and uncertainty and insecurity, like, you're becoming a thing for somebody else to project all of their fear and insecurity onto, and there's like cycles within cycles and clashing and like just this big like cyclone of mess. So letting all of that go as well. Like, we're not going to go, oh no, that's the way it is with any of the stuff in this video. This is all realizations to have so that we can like transcend all of this stuff and we can actually approach it differently in the future. So instead of coming into the next relationship and you see like a warning sign or a red flag, and by the way, if you are thinking about a yellow car, you're going to see all of the yellow cars, you know? If you're thinking about red flags, if you're thinking about warning signs, what are you going to find? What is going to be the prominent things that stand out to you? Like, whatever you're focusing on is what you create, in the sense that, like, we are filtering all of the information from reality. If you took in all of the information from reality all the time, you would be institutionalized as mentally insane, and you'd lose all of your autonomy. You'd be on an involuntary treatment order, and you'd probably be one of my clients. Like, it's just too much. So we're filtering, we're rendering reality, and we're selecting, like, whether it's like consciously I'm choosing to focus on this today, or all of the huge percentage of what goes on that's subconscious. Like, we're not really too consciously involved in the process, you know. There's so much coming in, and we're choosing what to focus on. So if we're choosing to focus on negative stuff, red flags, toxic signals, all of this stuff, like, whoa, watch out, I gotta find like all of the problems. Like, I'm super guilty of this. This is why I have this awareness now, because I've done it a bunch of times, because I've been in my own little cycle going like, oh, this is what happens every time, and now I'm changing it. Oh, so beautiful, so relaxing. So yeah, you come into the new relationship, you're not looking for the red flags anymore. You notice them, you have an awareness, you're like, okay, that feels a little bit like last time. But you don't go, oh, stop, I've got to prevent that, I've got to stop that, I've got to respond to that. No. Let's just observe. And let's focus on something over here that we do want to happen. The big key to everything is focus on what you do want to happen. Like, I used to make a lot of content, or like do a lot of writing and projects and stuff, and it was all reacting to things like, we've got to stop this. I wanted to stop like big pharmaceutical companies from exploiting people and manipulating people into taking drugs that they don't need, things like that. And then like you just into that, you reaction. What happens when you react? Reaction comes back. What happens when you push against something? It pushes back. Like, that's just, you're creating this effect of like back and forward, when you can just be going straight forward through your entire life. You can just choose like to focus on stuff that grows. Like, plant a seed and water it, and it just grows. You don't like have to be engaged in any kind of pursuit where you're back and forward. Just let that go. So what happens when you stop forfeiting everything, evacuating, freaking out about all the red flags and warning signs, is it automatically produces different results. Like, you don't have to end up in the same situation. It doesn't have to be just like last time, because you are actually far more significant in this situation than you realize, or that you give yourself credit for. Like, just because all of these people are behaving in all these different ways and it feels threatening to you doesn't necessarily mean that it is a threat to you. Like, you can step outside of it. But it takes a lot of strength. Like, it takes a lot of security within yourself, and it takes a lot of, like, you just gotta trust yourself and believe in yourself, and that doesn't happen overnight. Like, of course, like, if you find yourself reacting and you like, I just can't control this, like, I'm just so like scared, or I'm worried, or I'm confused even. You can get so confused that you're like, well, do I do this or this or this? And like, what's the right path? What's the right way to respond? Again, don't forget what I said before. One of the most powerful responses is to do nothing and just observe, and then you can see what's playing out. You can see it with clarity. You can see it without your own like interference, because stuff in you is interfering with the situation to manipulate it and make it worse. And like I said before, like, you're the toxic red flag warning sign for others as well. Like, it's not just you as this perfect little saint of enlightenment that's moving through reality and everything else is out to get you. Like, you're also playing quote unquote negative roles in other people's lives. So don't forget that. Don't forget that we're all together creating these experiences. So even in a situation, like, I don't want you to go to the other extreme as well. Like, I'm just the one that's going to observe and not respond. Like, you have to contribute something to every relationship, every experience, every situation, like, whether you deliberately do or not. Even contributing nothing is a contribution in a way. But contributing nothing is better than contributing negatively. That's another little thing that I have in my philosophical database from long ago, and I still kind of think, yeah, that works in most situations. But it can also be a cop-out as well, because then you can just say like, well, I did nothing, and a tyrannical government forced everybody to do things that were not in their best interests, or like there's all these other things going on. But again, that's reaction. Don't do that anymore. Like, just focus on what we need to do, and what we need to do is free ourselves from these feelings that we're not in control of our own lives, and start to feel empowered and inspired again, so that we can create positive stuff. The more positive stuff we create, the less of these negative feelings are going to be floating around in the atmosphere around us, and we can actually, it reproduces itself. Positivity reproduces itself just as much as negativity reproduces itself. So if you can just like let go of a little bit of stuff today and move towards some better outcomes today, you are going to be a benefit not only to yourself, but everybody around you. Ooh. So with these videos, I also want to encourage people to begin to leave comments down below of things that you're taking away from the video. It doesn't have to necessarily be things that I'm even saying. It's just things that are popping into your head while we're talking about this stuff, because what I want people to start to see is that everybody's on a different kind of journey, and they're seeing things differently, and we can all learn from each other. Like, the video diary for me is just a way for me to articulate what's going on inside of me and make that into a habit, so that like I actually understand myself more deeply on more levels, because it's easy to just float around through life and feel like you know yourself. But if you had to actually tell your story and explain who you are and explain what is important to you and explain your philosophy, most people, like if you do this as an exercise, you turn the camera on and you start to talk for 20 minutes and see what comes out. Most of it's just going to be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know where to begin. Like, a few people have done it that have watched these video diaries and they've been like, wow, that's actually quite the exercise. It's another way that you could work through some of this stuff. If you find yourself in a situation that feels just like last time, you could even pen and paper, just journal out your thoughts and feelings in the present moment, and then read it back or watch it back and see what's actually taking place, because it might not be clear to you, as clear as it feels. You might feel like, I've got clarity in this situation. This is bad over here, and I'm the good one, and that's the bad thing, and that's that. But if you actually unpack it and you get into a bit of depth and nuance, you might notice a few extra pieces that will empower you even more, because then you won't, like, you'll notice, oh, I react every time this happens, so I need to be more self-aware. And when this, because I know this is going to happen, because I've got this little roadmap, because it's just like last time, it's gonna show up, this is going to happen in the future. So when that happens, I've already made my decision ahead of time that I'm not going to react. This is what I'm going to do instead. That's way more powerful. Or not just I'm not going to react, this is what I'm going to do instead. So when this person violates my boundary, I am going to excuse myself and I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch my favorite movies or TV shows and I'm just going to relax. And then you've already changed the whole thing. Like, that's just going to be so different. So I hope somebody got something out of this video. If you did, click the like button for me, subscribe to the channel already, and pass this video on to anybody you know who may benefit. Thanks for watching.